Hello everybody, this is Hammer Striker here. I've got a gun on the table that I've had quite a few requests for. It's the Taurus G3C, and this one is the Toro, and it's T.O.R.O with periods in each word, and it stands for Taurus Optic Ready Option, which is that plate you see right here. And this is a optic ready gun, and you're starting to see more and more of that. Pretty much every manufacturer is making an optic ready gun now. Most of them are still keeping it in their high-end line. So Glock with the MOS, it tends to be the higher end of the various Glock series. But you're starting to see them now even in what would be considered a budget gun. Things like the Scythe that has the optic right from the factory, the Taurus, and a few others you're starting to see. It comes with two of these 12-round magazines. They're actually nicely constructed steel magazines. They do have a pinky extender, and they've got witness holes only on one side. Now, oddly enough, you just have the two witness holes, 6 and 12, but they do work, and they do work well, and they've got a bright yellow follower, so you're going to easily find these things in a bag. And it is unloaded. One of the things I don't like on this, and there's actually a lot of things I do like, is the finish. So when you're looking at it on this side, it's a Tenefer finish, which is actually a high quality finish and should be actually very corrosion resistant. And it's matte black, and it really is matte. On this side I oiled it, and it kind of has a decent sheen, but if you look at the picture on their website, it makes it look really, really nice, kind of like the finish they've got on the later Glocks. But you can see it's kind of a dryish looking, for lack of a better description, is paint that's gotten old and kind of gotten chalky. Now it isn't chalky, and it's not coming apart, and it's not deteriorating, but if you take a look at where I've oiled it, it looks pretty decent. You flip it over, and I didn't oil this side, and I did that on purpose so you could see the difference. And it's just a very dryish looking finish, and you'll see there's kind of stuff on it from the cleaning rags. It wants to catch and collect stuff. So I'm not a super big fan of the finish, though being Tenefer, from a corrosion resistance perspective, it should hold up well. The barrel is stainless steel, which is a good thing, but it's already starting to show wear on the matte finish they put on it. Now the good news is if this finish wears off, it's stainless steel underneath, so it should hold up quite well. Overall, it's a comfortable to hold gun. I'm going to put the magazine in it. With the magazine with the pinky extender, it's a 3-finger grip. I didn't see flat base plates available in the box. They may be available aftermarket. You'll see there's a few characteristics of the trigger. It's got an over-travel stop right there. It's integrated with the trigger. It does have a nice curved front of the trigger guard for people that want to put their finger there, but there's no serrations. The trigger guard is decent opening, so that if you had smaller, thinner gloves, it would work well. And the trigger is serrated a little bit on the edge, and it has got a split trigger for the inertial drop safety, and that has the serrations that continue across it. So and of course it does have all the typical safeties you'd have on a striker gun. Additionally, it does have a thumb safety. To the best of my knowledge, there's only one version of it, thumb safety. You can't get one without the thumb safety. But the off position or the fire position is inline, so you could choose to not use the thumb safety if you wanted to, and use it like any other striker gun. The thumb safety does work well. It's easy to get to. I can thumb it on and thumb it off quite easily without any twisting or turning. Basically, I just kick my thumb up. But it has a nice positive detent, so it shouldn't move itself. It should pretty much stay whatever state you want it in. The mag release is easy to get to, and it does eject the mag nice and forcefully, so you don't have to worry about getting the mag out. And this texturing is a bit of a sandpaperish texture, and it's in various spots, and it's smooth in between. And of course, it's got their Bull logo on it, and then it's on the back strap. And this does not have interchangeable back straps, which is common with a lot of these smaller guns. They do give up the interchangeable back straps. I don't think anything in the PT line has that capability. But it is a comfortable grip. It does stay in your hand, and the sandpaper is not overly aggressive. So it's not really tearing you up, even though I imagine without a t-shirt or something like this, it would probably chafe on your body if you were carrying it and the grip was up against you. It does have a single slot Picatinny rail. There's a number of accessories for, so that should work out well. Don't like the rear sight. I'm not a fan of blackout sights. And it has a nice bright white front sight that was briefly in focus. Now at the back you can see the serrations on the black. I did find it difficult to shoot this well. It's capable of nice grouping, but I had to work for it. The rear sight is dovetail, so you can replace it if you want. The front sight, similar to a Glock, has a screw that goes underneath it that holds it in place, but you could change it out. But this is an optic ready gun, so of course they're assuming you're going to put an optic of some sort on it, which will all depend on what you want it for. If this is going to be an inside the waistband concealed carry, you might very well put an optic on it. If you're looking at this as a pocket gun, you may not, in which case you may want to swap out that rear sight for a nicer sight. I did find it relatively easy to pull tight groups when I had time to focus on it, but it did take some work. So the gun's capable of it. There's two things that make it a little difficult. One is the sights, and one is a characteristic of the trigger. So first we'll make sure that it's clear. It has a significant amount of very light take-up, and then actually a quite nice crisp break at the back. The only thing with the trigger that I found is it's way at the back, so there's just a lot of overall travel. So it took a little getting used to. And you notice I didn't cycle the gun and I just did the trigger again. Let me repeat that. There's a little less take up before you start to hit some resistance. And then it's a little bit scratchy and I'm pulling back and then it breaks again. This has restrike capability. A lot of striker fired guns don't have that. So if it doesn't go off for one reason, you can just keep on pulling it. Or when it cycles, you're back to that very light, significant amount of take up and then a break. One thing I did like about this trigger is it has a decent reset. It's right there, just a hair to get back on the wall and a break. Now what I will note on the reset, so it comes to right about here, is the same as the take up. So the reset is relatively short on it because most of the action's happening back here at the back, but the reset is roughly equal to the original spot where you start to hit the wall. Overall, it's a nice trigger. It just takes a little getting used to the fact that it's going to happen all the way back here. But unlike a lot of guns in this category, it's not heavy, it's not scratchy. It's a hair scratchy in the double action mode, but that's kind of your fallback mode. That's something didn't go right and you're going to try to fire again mode. But in normal running, trigger's actually kind of smooth. So once I got used to figuring out how to lock in on the sights and the fact that the trigger was all the way at the back, you can actually pull some groups with this gun that are pretty nice. So it is really good for what it's intended to be, which is a self-defense gun. And on that note, I'll stick the magazine in there. What you've got is a gun that is 6.3 inches front to back. It is 5.1 inches tall, and it's 1.2 inches thick. So it's actually right in the same size category of all the other double stacks that are out there for concealed carry. With 12 rounds of capacity in a relatively small 22-ounce package, it's kind of perfect for that purpose. The MSRP on this is $408, $409 territory. Right now they're going for a little bit above that, $450-ish, or sometimes you can find them a little bit lower, but with the current stuff that's going on right now, guns like this are in demand. So if you get lucky, you might find one a little less expensive, but more likely than not, you're going to pay MSRP or a little bit more. A couple other things before I take it apart. The barrel is stainless, as I mentioned earlier. It's 3.2 inches long and it's conventional rifling, and it has this matte finish on it. One other thing that's of interest, so this is a $400 gun. A few weeks ago we reviewed a $700-some optics ready gun, and you got one plate for free in the mail, which by the way I still haven't gotten my plate. I filled out for it and I still haven't gotten it yet. Taurus, $400 gun, comes with a little bag here with plates and tools for all of the common optics out there. So you take that plate off that comes with it, you pick the plate from this bag that matches your optic and hop your optic on there. So it is a little surprising that I've got a high-end gun that you have to buy the plate separate after the one free one that you wait for in the mail, and a budget gun that they're all in the box ready to go. Does have a lot of features for the price you're paying for it. So there's a lot good about this. So let's pop this thing apart, see the internals. Just like a Glock, grip it at the back, give it a little bit of a squeeze to pull these levers free. And it kind of sticks a little bit, but it will come apart. Frame is well constructed. You got decent rails here at the back, they're steel. Nice rails here at the front. The fire control group is here in the middle, and it's a little more complicated than some others, but of course you've got that restrike capability. Show it to you there. Now, we'll move to the slide. There's your drop safety plunger, sear, the hook from the striker, and dual recoil spring, which has become quite common on this territory of guns, and the barrel. The barrel is well machined. I didn't see any evidence of chattering, tool chatter, or any defects in the rifling. And as I mentioned before, it is conventional rifling. Didn't have any stabilization issues or any other issues with it. Reassembling it, now one thing before I note that, the machining is well done, but there's no extra polishing. So it's basically machined well and thoroughly, but there's no extra polishing done. There's some paint marks here where they've indicated something from the manufacturing process, and you can see some wear on that matte finish where the barrel hood is sliding. But in the long run, that shouldn't make a big difference in overall longevity. Reassembling is relatively easy. Like any of the others, you just put the recoil spring back in. Make sure that the recoil spring is well centered and slide it back onto the frame. And I really had no trouble disassembling or reassembling this gun. So it's easy to live with, it's easy to maintain. I do think the quality on it's high enough that it should hold up well. So it's got Taurus roll marked on one side, and you can see it's got G3C roll marked on the other. And it's even got a little spot for your thumb, whichever side you're going to hold it on, left or right. Now, it's not ambi. There's no ambi features on this. But it does have the indexing position for your finger and your thumb, or whichever side you've got it turned on. It's got a lot of cool features for basically what you would figure is a $400 gun. So as a pretty much what's really a concealed carry defense gun is what it's really targeting. It's an evolution of the PT111 series. It's kind of evolved over time. And with the ability to put a red dot on it for, as your eyes get older, newer shooters, or fast target acquisition, without having to spend a lot of extra money, it's a good setup for that. And it's a lot of bang for the buck. Best way I guess I could describe it. Beyond that, if you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, click that bell up there to be notified as you do. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, Instagram, kind of all over the place. And thank you.